Hey, look what we have found. A big sound in a small town, far away from the bright lights. They're making music every night. Discover what is all around. A big sound, a big sound in a small town. Big sound, small town. A really big sound. Big sound, small town.
You're listening to Big Sound, Small Town with Sandy Carlton.
Hi, welcome to Season 4 of Big Sound, Small Town. I'm your host, Sandy Carlton. Join me as musicians tell their stories about how they became musicians and the stories along the way.
You can see the Eiffel Tower in a park downtown. Pick up a postcard about it, and with a stamp send it round. The whole wide world knows the bitter truth. There's no saving face when it comes to me and you. Paris, Tennessee is where you left me, wondering why love didn't seem to love me. All that's left of you is that color blue. Your eyes were night, the sky so bright above me. Now I'm standing here thinking there's nothing left to see but this broken heart, this broken heart in Paris, Tennessee. I packed my things 'cause you were special, unlike anyone else. A love to me that seemed like freedom turned to that ticket straight to hell. And everyone saw that neon sign but me. I guess it's true that love can be blind. Paris, Tennessee is where you left me, wondering why love didn't seem to love me. All that's left of you is that color blue. Your eyes were like the sky so bright above me. Now I'm standing here thinking there's nothing left to see but this broken heart, this broken heart in Paris, Tennessee. Now I'm wandering around these streets, looking for one souvenir to help me remember me. Paris, Tennessee is where you left me, wondering why love didn't seem to love me. All that's left of you is that color blue. Your eyes were like the sky so bright above me. Now I'm standing here thinking what's left of me but this broken heart, break this broken heart in Paris, Tennessee. Hi, I am Jennifer Alvarado. I am a country pop singer, songwriter from Vale, North Carolina.
Vale, North Carolina.
Yep.
You don't get a lot of pop country singers in Vale.
This is a true statement.
However, it is a rural area.
It is. Yeah, so I actually started out as a Christian singer.
Okay.
I started with church and leading worship and all of that. And my first CD was a contemporary Christian CD that I put out in 2015.
Did you sing as a child?
I did. I started writing when I was about 4.
Oh, writing at 4. That's great.
Yeah, and so I had my little Fisher-Price recorder that I would press and make my little songs up.
Oh, that's really cool.
And so I kept doing that for a few years. I joined choir, I think, when I was about 7. I had a couple little solos when I was 4 or 5, but I don't really remember them. I got involved with choir when I was about 7, and then got involved with solos and stuff at school, and drama club and that kind of stuff. And it just kind of continued. And then I went back into worship around age 15. I got really involved with church and music ministry at my church. Could you play an instrument at that point? At what point did you bring an instrument into it besides just singing? So when I was little, probably 7, 8, that somewhere around there. My grandfather played on a radio station.
Right.
With, I think, his brother or somebody. But anyway, they used to play on Sunday mornings. And so he played guitar and mandolin and banjo. And so when I would go to his house, he would teach me some of the mandolin, some of the some of the guitar. But I broke the mandolin because, it's my size when you're little.
Small, yeah.
And I'm a kid.
Right.
So anyway, I broke it, so it got taken away. And then he started letting me play the guitar. And I really played by ear. That's how I would learn little guitar riffs and that kind of stuff, was just listening to it. And same thing with, like, keyboard.
Right.
And we also had a pump organ in the basement. And so I used to go downstairs and play that.
Play the pump organ, yeah.
So most of that was by ear. It wasn't until probably 12 or 13 that I started taking lessons for guitar.
Oh, okay.
And around 14, I started taking some voice lessons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think, even if you're a really good singer, I think there's a place for lessons. Some of the best singers I've ever known in my life had vocal coaches and took vocal lessons, and there's nothing in the world wrong with it. I know fabulous guitarists who have teachers too, so,
Well, my whole thing is the more you learn.
Sure.
So I always want to be learning. I always want to be improving on what I'm doing because there's so many different ways of playing. I think the thing that I didn't realize when I was younger was there's different ways of strumming. Even.
Yes, there is.
And so I look at, like, the June Carter and the Carter family and their way of playing. And, everybody has their own individual way. It's kind of like your thumbprint. So, I've always liked learning from other people because you get another perspective and you get to kind of use that and you take what you want to from it and then apply it. So,
one of my philosophies is you have to play with people better than you to get good. I always like to be the least talented person in the room, which is usually pretty easy for me. But, it's you can learn from people that are better than you. A lot of people are afraid to play with people better than them, or they want to be the best person. But you can never go wrong by not being the best person because that's how you get to be the best person.
Exactly.
So, it really is. So we're playing in church. We're back to playing in church, right?
Yeah. So I started playing in church when I was about 15 with the choir, and then from there I started. There were 2 different ensembles that I was part of and kind of headed up, and then went to college. I actually went to college for vocal performance.
Oh, okay.
And had a horrendously bad freshman year. And left my freshman year. I remember I did my juries because you have to do juries at the end of the year. And I went into my juries and I left and I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm never singing again. I'm done.
I understand.
And so that summer, like, I just remember going home and I was like, God, if I'm supposed to do this, please bring back this desire, because right now it's nothing. Like, I didn't even want to listen to music anymore.
Sure, I can understand that too.
Yeah, and so I actually switched my major to political science and family ministries, and I was like, I'm going to go do this, and that's it. And music will be maybe a hobby. I don't even know if it'll be a hobby anymore. And that lasted maybe 3 weeks, and I was like, and honestly, God brought that desire back probably tenfold of, you know what, it's anything worth having, you're going to have struggles.
Sure you are.
It's not going to be this easy road. So if
Right.
you thought it was, then buckle up.
Did you go back in music?
I finished my minor in music. So,
Oh, see,
yes,
that's good.
I finished it as far as that goes. A lot of it had to do with, so I've always wanted to be a songwriter.
Right.
That's been my passion since I was 4
Sure.
years old. So when I went to college, I was sort of like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. And,
Right.
and I think that they more so wanted a classical
Sure they do.
artist.
Sure.
And, you know, and also with the school that I went to, it's more geared toward teaching.
Right.
And so I had no desire
To teach,
to do that.
yeah.
I wanted to be a songwriter. I wanted to be writing
Sure.
contemporary Christian songs or country songs. Like, that's what I wanted to do. And so I think it was just not a good fit. I think that was the biggest challenge.
You know where the problem is the songwriting. I mean, that is one of the things that music departments never address unless you're playing a solo instrumental type thing or an ensemble type thing. The songwriter gets totally left out. Hey, go to the English department. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Now, I will say, though, I mean, classical training, I mean, there's something to be said for
Oh,
it.
there is.
Because I know just from, because, you know, I started playing in karaoke bars when I was
Yeah.
about 17. And
Yeah.
16, 17, until they found out my age and I got kicked out.
Right.
So with that, I think I picked up some bad habits as far as just
Oh,
things
it's
that are
easy to
very
do,
rough
sure.
on your voice.
Yeah.
And so I'm appreciative of the training that I did have,
Yeah.
because I know what's natural and what's not, and how to, you know,
Sing from your diaphragm, I know.
yeah. Well, and just also not blow your voice
Sure.
out when you're belting or something like that. So there's definitely positives that.
Yeah. How to
Came
warm
from.
up properly.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's good. I mean, I would never fault anyone for getting good music education. You know, there's you can take away from it whatever you need to take away from it.
Exactly.
And it's people that have that foundation usually are better musicians in the long run.
Well, I think, I mean, that goes for anything. Like, if you really are passionate about a subject, the more you know about it,
True.
the more you're able to articulate that to somebody else. And so that's really been helpful to me. And plus, for me, I remember I had a piano teacher that called me a sponge. She said that because I
What you
wanted,
should be, yeah.
but I wanted to learn like the history of it.
Right.
I remember like at one point I wanted to be a musicologist because I love learning the why behind a song.
Right.
And what was this person going through and what was happening in their life, because I just feel like that's how we relate to each other. And that's how you get to the core of what's going on.
Sure.
Is through those words and through the story of somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a songwriter, so we feel the same way about that. You know, I work as a musician, but I'm a songwriter. You know, so and have been all my life. So tell me about the first time you sang karaoke. Were you afraid or scared?
So I dealt with a lot of performance anxiety. It started probably when I was about 11. When my grandmother passed away when I was 10, she was kind of my rock. And after that, it's like my eyes were open to all the criticism around me, all the comments, everything. And so when I went into middle school, my biggest thing with middle school was I wanted to be liked and I wanted friends. And you don't get a lot of friends when you're getting the solos and being asked to sing.
You're
and
right.
So I remember, several girls were like, if you're really our friend, you won't audition for this. If you're really our friend, like, you're not going to sing. And
Like, nope, ain't happening. I'm not.
yeah. And so because of that, like, I started getting a lot of performance anxiety, and just that perfectionism started really coming out. And so I went through a period of probably 4 or 5 years where I would just go to sing and nothing would happen.
Yeah.
I would get the solo, and then I would go to do the solo, and it was just crash and burn.
Right.
So, so I started really questioning myself with that. And that's one reason I started taking the voice lessons, was to try to get that back, that confidence back. And it kind of helped, but not really.
I've known a lot of fine musicians that have performance issues, and sometimes that leads to other problems beside. A lot of ways to cope with it, and a lot of times there aren't good ones.
Right.
I know so many that have coped with, so I'm going to drink too much to get rid of this.
Yeah, to get rid of the fear.
Yeah.
So I get that, and luckily I never went that route. It was more like I just froze in general. But yeah, when I was about 16, I remember the very first time I sang at a place, and I was so nervous. I remember I was just so nervous. I wanted to go hide in the bathroom.
Right.
But then after probably half the song, it was like, oh, okay.
No, I know how to do this.
Yeah. And then I went back up for the next song. And
right.
So, yeah, it's one of those things, like, even now, and I remember, I think it's the little Jimmy Dickens said something like, because he was talking about his nerves.
Yeah.
And he always said that when he stopped getting nervous, he would stop doing this.
Right.
And so I've always carried that, because I've always felt like as long as I'm this passionate about it, there should be that little bit of anticipation and nerves that comes with it, because otherwise you're just going through the motions.
True.
And so I've always held on to that. So even now I still have the nerves, but I would say within, I don't know, a song or two, it goes away.
Did you remember the first song you sang when you did that? Can you remember?
Yes. It was Who I Am by Jessica Andrews.
Okay. That's a fun thing to know, That's cool.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things, you go in and you think, what am I going to sing?
Oh, I had it planned.
Oh, you had it planned?
Yeah, I had it planned. I was like, this is what I'm singing. And then also it was Alicia Elliott's I'm Digging It. Yeah.
There you go.
And that was the first song that I actually played on guitar, out for somebody on guitar. So, yeah.
So outside the church, when did you start taking your first jobs?
16, 17, somewhere
That's
in
cool.
there. Yeah.
I guess those were scary too, right?
Oh, honestly, even now when I go to a new place, I'm like, I hope they like me. I hope they don't tell me to leave and never come back. Like, there's always those nerves. And I think that's just my perfectionism that comes out. And so I've learned over time to just be like, shut up. Stop.
Well, one of the things I've learned over the years is I can perform for strangers with no problem, but if it's people I know, I have way more problem.
Yes.
And if I have a new song, I can do it for strangers, but if it's people I know, I don't really like. I could stand naked in front of them easier than I could sing a new song for them.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way.
Because here you've kind of put your heart into it. You know, you think it's a good song, and it may not be. You don't know, you know, and you think it is, and you're wondering what they're thinking. So it's easier. If you're a stranger, then I don't really care. I hope you like it, but if you don't, too bad. You know, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
I
I'm
got
the
3
same
more.
way.
You know, so
No, I'm the same way. And the person I get most nervous with is when I go to share a song with my husband.
yeah,
Because
I do
I want to
understand
get
that.
his opinion, and it's like I don't know what I'm waiting on, but so like I'll play it, and I'm like looking at him the entire time, like, what you thinking? What you thinking?
Oh yeah,
And you know, and a lot of times I'll get done, and he's like, I like it.
but yeah.
You know, and I appreciate that because
Sure.
he's being truthful to me.
And that's what you want.
me.
Yeah, it is.
So, but yeah, I'm the same way. I'm also the same way as far as like I would rather play for 1,000 people than 2.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because I feel like those 2 can like hone in on every little thing, even though.
Well, fortunately, a lot of times as a musician, you're playing and no one's hearing a word because they're all having their conversations, you know. And if it's a place like that, once I realize it and I start my stuff, then I realize, in fact, I've changed the words to stuff before to see if anybody was paying attention.
Knows.
Nobody knows, you know. I've just, but then I played a job last night where it was a listening room where everyone listened to every word that you played. Fortunately, I played it with 3 other songwriters.
Yeah.
So you know, it was, you know, you want to do your stuff though for people who listen.
Oh yeah.
But it's also a little more nerve-wracking when they're listening as opposed to when they got 4 conversations going over here and 1 there and nobody's really paying attention to you.
I think I get most nervous with other songwriters.
Oh, really?
Well, only because like now I love doing writers rounds.
Right.
Love it because you're actually able to sit there and figure out what the story is
Sure.
about and share those things.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I would have never written about that. That's cool. But yeah, I get nervous because it's like I feel like they know if you're going to mess up. Like if you mess up, if you do something weird, they're going to pick up on it.
Yeah, I sang the same verse twice last night.
Yeah.
To a song.
I've done that.
You know, I mean, I hadn't done the song. Well, yeah, I had done that song a pretty good bit, but for some reason I sang it twice last night.
It needed to be sung twice.
Yeah. No, it didn't, but I did anyway. No. I just had a moment there where I just.
I got it.
You know.
Well, and honestly, the words I forget the most are my own.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot remember my own words to save my life. Like, I was doing it was a taping for a TV show or something. It was in Atlanta or right outside Atlanta. And I just had this brain fart.
Yeah,
I could not remember the words to save my life, and so I just started making stuff up.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
I mean,
I do that too. And you know, it's I'm older now, but like if I have a new song, it takes me a while before I can do it out in public because I just can't remember the words. You know, and I don't really want to sell the song short.
I'm the same way.
So I take a long time to do new ones out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I get frustrated if I know the song and then I go to sing the song and
Sure.
it's like, well, that came out wrong.
Yeah, that happens with me a bit. I blame it on old age, but I may have. No, I didn't do it as much. Truthfully, I didn't do it as much when I was younger.
Yeah. I think mine is I'm always thinking of another way to say things.
Oh, I think I'm not paying attention generally is what it is with me.
Okay.
I'm watching what's going on out there. And
Well,
it's like,
that's true. I do that a lot too.
You know, and it's like, because I like to watch people.
I watch.
So I'm on stage and I'm watching people and it's like, what's
That's
the next line?
Yeah,
You know?
that's actually how I started coming up with stories about stuff. I promise I'm not a stalker, but my grandmother and I used to sit at like the mall.
Yeah.
And we would just sit there and like watch people go in
There's
and out.
nothing wrong with that. I think that's pretty cool, really.
But we would come up with stories.
Kind of freaky, but kind of...
Yeah, but we would come up with stories about people and like what's going on in their life. And so it was kind of like this creative activity.
Sure.
Because then you're able to kind of put yourself in other situations.
Yeah.
And I think that helps with songwriting.
It does.
To really come up with this elaborate story that may have nothing to do with you, but I mean, for the most...
And generally they don't. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Well, I have some that have, you know, are,
Yeah.
but others are, and some of those are just bits and pieces. I mean, you know,
Right.
part of it's true, but part of it's not, you know.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
so,
I elaborate on situations.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've said this many times, but I call that the hamburger analogy. In itself, a hamburger, a piece of meat and 2 pieces of bread is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's how you embellish it that makes, and it's the same way with a story or a song.
Yep.
It's the things you add to it is what makes it good or better or best.
Yep.
Still a pretty good deal at the beginning, but you can make it better.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah, thank you. It is. It's so take me. Okay, we're at the karaoke bar. So what do we happen from there?
So I still continued with music, graduated, was going to move to Nashville, and chickened out and thought,
Good move. Good move that you chickened out.
oh, okay. Well,
think
I don't know. I still have, I don't
You're
have
still
regrets.
young. You can still do it.
Well, I think I just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I think that there was a lot that I needed to learn. And honestly, with this industry, you've got to have a thick skin.
You do.
You've got to know at the end of the day, if you're happy with something, that's all that matters. And so I've grown up as a people pleaser.
You have to be very confident when you go do that.
Well, and I think I had to get past my people pleasing
Yeah, I think you do.
perfectionism tendencies. And the only way to do that is to be in situations that get you brutally hurt sometimes.
Yeah, it does. I agree.
Yeah, so I took a job with as a paralegal with a telecommunications company. I was there for pretty much close to 11 years. And in that time, I took a break from worship leading for a little bit because I was a worship leader for 2 different churches. I would leave one at 9 a.m. and go to the other one at 11 a.m.
Right.
And basically, one of them folded because it was a church before its time. It was very contemporary.
That happens, yeah.
And so it didn't work at that point in time. And then the other church, I was dating my now husband at the time, and it was very traditional. And then also I was helping with the contemporary service, and the person that was over the contemporary service basically just left one day. Mm. He got mad and left me with it, and I was like, I don't know that I want this.
Right.
And so with all that, I just needed to take a break. So I took a break probably for about 2 years before I and we switched to another church before I got involved with their worship ministry. And then, so as I'm doing the paralegal thing, I'm realizing more and more, like, your heart's with music. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
But it was one of those things, like, it was a steady paycheck.
Sure.
You know, it was,
yeah.
You know, you get caught up in that. You get caught up in life. And
yeah. I mean, money is essential.
Yeah, it is. But I just, you know, I remember I had gone to New York because we were opening for public stock again. And I went to New York, and I was there, and everybody was downstairs in the bar. And I just went up to my room, and I remember looking out and thinking, I don't want this. Like, I want to be doing music. I want to be, you know, pursuing ministry to some degree, you know, all of that. Like, this is not what I want. And so I came home, and I basically made a plan to say, I'm stepping away from this. And so I went into full-time ministry. I was doing 3 different campuses for a church, and then got a job as a music director for a church in Greensboro. And it was about a 4-hour commute.
Right.
Because I wanted to stay in Vail.
Right.
And so that obviously burned me out pretty quickly.
Yep,
and there was some other stuff that happened along the way. And so I decided, listen, I'm going to come back to Vail and just kind of figure things out. And I think I had to do that. I had to go down that road. Like, people have always asked me, do you have regrets about anything? And I used to think, oh, yeah. And now I'm sort of like, no, because all of that is why I'm here now.
Yeah.
And it teaches you things, and it teaches you perseverance.
It does teach you. Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
And so, do I wish some situations didn't happen? Of course. I think you have that. But I think also you've got to have that to understand where you are now and to even be appreciative of where you are now.
True.
So, but yeah, so I came back. I took some time off of ministry, and I actually went to work for Safe Harbor in Hickory, and it's a women's recovery center.
Sure.
They have a recovery program, but I was part of the community center, and so I would go and pick up the ladies from the Salvation Army and bring them to the center during the day, and we would help them with finding jobs,
Right.
Housing, that kind of stuff, and then also just skills.
Right.
And I did that for a little bit, and
Are you playing out during this time?
yeah. So,
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing that, and I'm doing worship leading in different churches, that kind of stuff. I've always been with a Celebrate Recovery ministry since 2013, and so that's just always been my thing. So recovery ministry is very dear in my heart. But yeah, so I decided in basically April of last year to step away. I stepped away in July of last year from Safe Harbor to pursue music full time and to really try to give this a push. And
how has that been going?
It's honestly, I don't know how to gauge it. Like, people ask me how it's going, and I'm like, I mean, I think it's going well.
I'm working, so yeah.
I'm working, like, people call.
Yeah.
I've gotten a few awards, so like I feel like it's going pretty well. I think with my personality, I'm always looking for the next thing,
Right.
and so I'm never gonna just like rest.
Be satisfied
Yeah.
with where you're
Well,
at.
I want to be satisfied from the standpoint of finding joy in the moment.
Yeah.
Because I think for a long time, that strive personality that I have kept me from really
Enjoying what you had, enjoying what you were doing.
So I'm trying to just be in the moment and be
It's a
grateful.
good thing to
for that.
be. Yeah.
But with that said, it's hard for me, and so I think I'm always looking for, okay, how can I improve? How can I get to that next level? What can I do? That kind of thing.
At some point, though, you had to go record something. So how did that go? How did that all work?
So I've kind of always been recording. So with
I guess the churches had recording stuff, right?
They did. So I recorded a couple albums with the church I was at the time. And so that was really for a period of time, like from 2015. So I released my album in 2015. And then I kind of focused on ministry.
Right.
Like, I focused on becoming a worship director. Like, that was my goal in that period of time. And so that's really where all my focus went. And so other than doing some little shows here and there, I just didn't really do much.
Right.
And then when I stepped away from that church in particular, I really started pursuing my own stuff. And so in April of last year, I released an EP of country stuff.
Right.
But I really started doing that in 2020 because with the pandemic,
You're
I was
right.
furloughed, and
Yes.
I was like, I can't sit still.
Right.
So I had these recordings, and I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I got to do something.
Right.
So I just started releasing stuff in 2020, and then, of course,
You release them like every 6 weeks, something like that.
Something like that.
Individual,
Yeah, I was
like,
trying to keep
like the
momentum.
old 45 market where, you know, I mean, there's not an A and B side, but you do. But that way you can extend your new song. I mean, that's a great philosophy these days. Most people do that where they, even if they record, say, a dozen songs, they don't put them out all at one
Right.
time like
Right.
the old days. You put out one, 6, 8 weeks, you put out another one.
Yep.
Then you can make that project last
a whole year.
a whole year.
Yep.
Whereas in the past, there's the product and it's, you know.
And honestly, that's what I found with my EP. So last spring, I released Playing with Fire, and it had 8 songs on it. One was an acoustic version of I Break Things that I had released in 2020. But what I realized from doing that was there was probably 4 songs on there that kind of just got lost.
Yeah, they
in the
do.
mix.
I mean, that's the.
And so with this project that I'm working on now, that's one reason that I split it into parts.
Right.
So like part 1's coming out the 24th of this month. Part 2's going to come out in September. But leading up to that, I've already released 3 of these songs.
Yeah.
And so my thought process behind that is I want to give each one
Sure.
kind of some time, you
Yeah,
know.
I agree.
And two, I think that helps with momentum because
It does,
with this day and age, like
Yep.
it's 2 seconds and
Sure.
you forget about it.
Yeah, you do.
So, I mean, it honestly from a marketing standpoint, it makes it easier because you constantly have something new that
Sure
you're
you
pushing
do.
for a little bit.
You do.
And then you move on to the next thing.
Right.
So,
And the likelihood of something that could get lost in the whole project, you know, doesn't. You know.
right.
I mean, so you got X number of songs, and you're probably going to get, if you release one total project, you're probably going to get a push if you're lucky on 4 of them.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
if you individually do those, then you get more,
Exactly.
and it's a longer push instead of, you know, okay, so they're playing, you know, 2 or 3 of my songs. But they're not playing either one of them for a long running period
Exactly.
of time. So
Yeah,
it works
so-
better. It's a good philosophy these days.
Yeah.
It's a really good philosophy. So I guess you wrote all the songs.
I did.
You co-write?
I do co-write some. I went through a period after the whole church thing because I had some church hurt because of some stuff that happened, where I was very scared to write with people. There was a situation that happened with one of my songs, and there was stuff changed, and I didn't know about it until
Yeah.
the 11th hour. And so it just, because songwriting had always been my safe place, it was the first time that I had felt like that injury to that.
Right.
And so it took me a little bit to just heal from that and feel like, okay, I can do this again. I can try this again. And so one of the things I did was I got involved with Nashville Songwriters Association. And I'm really involved with the Greenville chapter
Okay.
of it. And, you know, I met some people through that have just really, they've kind of changed my mind about co-writing and all that.
Yeah, they'll do that.
Yeah,
That's the Nashville style. I mean, there's no individual writers,
Yeah.
and it hasn't been for years.
Well, and I think that's what I was shocked by as I've gotten more into the industry to see, like, you know, there may be 5, 6 writers
Yeah.
on a song. And that was honestly very foreign to me because I think for me,
It's still foreign to me.
yeah, like it's weird to me because I don't know. I don't know why that's so weird to me. Like I've done 2 or 3 writers,
Right.
but yeah, I don't know why that's so weird.
I'll tell you why it's weird. I'll be just honest and straightforward. Okay. So you know what the royalty is on 6 people? Not as much as it is.
Oh yeah, it would.
But okay. So you got a song and you've written it, and it's a good song. But you know me, and guess what? I know Taylor Swift. We'll just use that as an example.
Yeah.
So I come to you and I say, guess what? You let me change. You got a line I'm not really crazy about. We can change it, and I'll get that to Taylor. And you go,
Okay.
oh yeah, I'm good with that because half of something is better than
Right.
all of nothing. So you get 6 writers, and you also get a perfectly craft song.
Right.
But did you write it? I mean, what is your contribution to this song? Is it I changed the "the" to a "the"? I mean that's
I know,
over.
I know.
So I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
How my co-writing goes, generally, I mean, I have done a bit of it, but I either have a song I need fixed,
Yeah.
and I know other songwriters, or they have a song they need fixed.
Okay.
And that's the co-write to me. I got a really good idea. I got it 3/4 of the way, but I'm stuck right here. I need help.
Yeah.
Or somebody does the same for me. Can you fix this?
Well, and so late last year, there was a group that came to me. They're out of Canada. They're called the White House. And Chris came to me, and he had a song that he had a chorus for. He
Right.
had the beat for it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I really want you on this song. Can you do the verses?
Right.
And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and that's okay. That's
Yeah.
the same type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as you and me sitting here and doing this, I might be okay with you and me doing it, but I'm not good with 6 people. It's like,
Well, and I'm not either. Because
I'm not good
more
with 4.
introverted. Yeah, I'm more introverted. So the chances of me going into a room with 4 people
Yeah.
and actually speaking up about something,
yeah.
probably something.
See, and that's the difference. That's the difference in you and me. I just think I'm smarter than those guys.
Well, and I think maybe secretly I have that.
I don't think I don't
I know,
really.
I know.
No, I probably really do, but it's like. I will tell you, because I did this last night. You can pick an object in this room, and I can write a song about it. Pick anything. I can write a song.
Yeah.
Will it be good? Yeah, probably not. And can it be improved? Yes. But also there's certain things I don't really have an interest in writing about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So co-writing can be weird.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, it can be. But these days, you're probably not going to get anything recorded that you don't record yourself if you don't co-write.
Yeah.
It's an ugly part of the reality of the business.
Well, and I have seen, so some of the songs that I have co-written, like, I look at those and I can be proud of them because maybe something was said that I wouldn't have said.
Right.
And like, I do think that some of them are stronger because of
Yeah,
that.
I think they can be, yes.
They can be. And then I think sometimes it really depends on who your co-writer is.
It does.
I mean,
It does.
and I think that that's what I had to learn
Right.
with all of it, was that if you've got to be comfortable.
Yeah,
If you're going into a room and sharing stuff to be able to write a song that hopefully will provoke an emotion,
Right.
and you're being vulnerable, because I really feel like with songwriting, like, the more vulnerable you are, the better it's going to be. I mean, unless you're doing a party song or something, and then
Well,
it can be surface. But,
True.
But I think to really be vulnerable with somebody, you've got to have some level of comfortable
Friendship,
trust,
relationship
something.
of some type.
And I think that was the thing, like, what I learned from past experiences was, if I don't feel comfortable, I don't need to force it just
Right.
for the opportunity to write with
Right.
whoever, or, because it's not worth it, because chances are that gut feeling you have about whoever, it's going to come to fruition. It's going to happen. And so I think that's what I had to do. It helped me to trust myself so much more. And so when I co-write with people now, honestly, the first time I sit down with them, we just talk.
Yeah, so
and I kind of see where they're coming from and see what really matters. And is there a common ground that we can write about?
Right.
Because that way we're both comfortable. But yeah, I'm with you. I more than two other writers.
I agree.
I can't do it.
And it's also like one of the things about co-writing too is you have to have thick skin.
Oh yeah.
I might think this is a good line, but you know, and I guess you have to convince me that you have a better one.
Yeah.
Or as good a one, or a different take on it, or a better fit for it, and that's the part of it. And if you can, that's a wonderful thing. It's a great co-write. If you can't, you know, that's no better than what it was.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
I might as well wrote this thing myself.
Yeah.
but you know, songwriting's a bit complicated.
Yeah. I mean, I think anytime, because I've always, and people have told me, like, you can't say that. But songs are like my children. Like, I don't have children, so I feel like I can say that right now. But they're like your babies. Like, they
are.
You know, and I remember somebody telling me, like, you can't look at it like that. Like, you've got to get past that feeling of it's your baby. And it's like, but why? Because otherwise you're just throwing stuff out there. And
Well, if you ever write for any reason other than the art of writing, you're just wasting your time.
yeah.
If you ever think about it commercially, you're going to be very disappointed. That being said, there is a working format, though.
There is. I mean,
16 lines will not get anybody to record your stuff, and you'll lose whoever you're singing it to if it goes too long. I mean, that's the art of the song is saying what you need to be done in a short space of time.
3 minutes and 30 seconds is like my
3 minutes and 30 seconds. That's the difference between songwriters and writers, journalists, book writers.
Yep.
Is you got 340 pages, or you have 3 minutes and 40 seconds, 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a big difference, and it's easier to say it in 300 words than it is in 3 minutes. You know, three minutes of words.
Yeah, you can make a whole picture in that. Like, you can give detail. And, yeah. So I think that's because when I first started writing, I was very much a storyteller writer.
Mm-hmm.
I would have these long 5-6 minute songs, and you know, over time, like, they've shortened, obviously.
Sure.
So, like, I laugh and I say 3 minutes and 30 seconds because I don't even think about it now. Right. Like, I'll write something and it's usually right about
Well, after you do it, you learn that you know, you got to make this. That's the art of it, is being able to say what you need to do it in a short period of time. So it's I mean, that's hard to do. Also, I'm a big edit it. You know, I write it and it's going to be rewritten 4 or 5 times before it's done, and then I'm going to perform it 4 or 5 times before I even get down. You know, this worked good in paper, and good when I was playing it just here with the guitar. But now once I'm out playing, it's like, okay, there's words that I need to drop or replace. That's just not flowing right. So it really, the life of a song, you know, it takes a while. Well, it's like children. I guess it has to grow till it's grown.
Right.
Up, you know.
Well, and that's one thing that I learned versus my 2015 album. So 2015, I was kind of new. Like, even though I had been in the studio before, done my demos, all that kind of stuff, it was the first time I had gone and taken this full project to say, here I am.
Right.
And so I went into the studio. I was scared of, like, everything because I had a not so great experience with another producer who just kind of made it his style.
Sure, they all do.
And they do, but the one thing about my producer now is, like, I feel like we're on the same page.
Sure,
he listens. Like, he listens to me. And so that's awesome. But when I first started working with him, I didn't really know what I wanted because
Right.
You know, here I am, and I have no clue what I'm doing. And so I look at those songs, and it's like they could have been so much stronger.
Yeah, well.
But it's what it was, and I didn't know you need to go sing it out and
Right.
see what works and what doesn't
Sure.
work. And so over time, like that's what I
part of
do
the
now.
growth. That's
that's
kind
what
of
I
the
do
growth
now.
of it. Yeah.
I see. Okay, I'm working on a song called Catfish right now, and it, you know, it's very like country, just driving beat, whatever. And the first time I played it out, I was like, "Huh, this is a really fun song to play."
Right.
But beforehand, I would have never I wouldn't play songs until they were recorded
Right.
and polished.
Right.
Even though I had never polished them actually
Right,
in
before-
real life
exactly, yeah.
and played them out
Sure.
to see what worked and what didn't
Yeah.
work.
And I think that's something you kind of have to do. You know, it's yeah, songs have to take a life of their own
Yeah.
to a bit, you know, and it's yeah. What else we need to know?
Oh, well, like I said,
Where can they find your material?
so you can go to my website. It's jenniferalvarado.com, and on there I have stuff on there to actually buy under music, but you can also just check out my socials. Instagram would be Jennifer Alvarado Music. TikTok, for whoever may use TikTok. I don't really use it, but hey, I'm there. It's Jennifer Alvarado Music.
Sure.
Facebook is Jennifer Alvarado Music if you search it, or /Jim Music 12.
Okay.
And then I'm also on YouTube with Jim Music 12. But yeah, I'm on Spotify. I'm on all the digital platforms.
Yeah, that's good because people need to know that so they can find your material.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the awards.
So last year, I finally sent my music to like radio stations in February of 2021. And basically I had gotten to this place where I was like, maybe I just need to shelf all this and not do this anymore. And I was looking up radio stations, and this one internet station popped up called Indie Star Radio. And I was like, you know what? Because for anybody that knows me, I'm obsessed with stars. Like, I've been obsessed with stars since I was probably born. And so I have this obsession. And so it had it right there in the name.
There
and
you
I was
go.
like,
Yeah.
this is destiny. Like, you know, clouds parted, sun came down. And so I had this thought of, you know what? I'm going to send it to this station. And if they accept it and like it, then, and I was sending break things. And I just thought if they like it, then we'll proceed on. And if not, I'm shelving everything and I'm going to focus on my career. And that's what we're going to do. And we're just going to be a normal 9-to-5er, and that's it.
Sure.
And which there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
But it actually went really well, and it gave me the confidence to start pursuing other stations and sending it to other stations, and getting back to playing live again and all those kind of things. And I was actually awarded Indie Stars Country Artist of the Year at the end of 2021.
That's super.
And just from there, I had the confidence of sending songs for the World Songwriting Awards, which I've been a finalist for that a few times. And then the Indie Songwriting Awards, my song Curious got Best Pop Song back in January of this year, winter 2022. And then Rock This Way, which is my single that's out right now, was just awarded the Best Pop Song and Best Overall Song.
It's pretty super.
So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming and
Yeah.
talking about your music and your
Thank
musical
you.
journey. And I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you, sir. I can see you looking at me from across the room. should just